If you feel like the grass is greener on the other side, or you always find yourself envying what other people have, then you need to read this book. This story is the perfect example of why you shouldn't compare yourself to others, because everything is not always as great as it seems, and some people are very good at hiding their true feelings. This book, If I Had Your Face, it's the story of 4 young women in contemporary Seoul, and they all lead very, very different lives, but somehow they've all ended up in the same apartment building. One girl, Curi, is breathtakingly beautiful, like the kind of girl who seems to get everything they want just because of the way that they look. But it turns out that her looks are not all that natural, if you know what I mean. She has had a little bit of surgical help as well as multiple expensive cosmetic procedures to obtain this level of beauty. And this level of beauty, like goddess level of beauty, it does come with a lot of unique challenges, and it's not always as great as it seems. She works with incredibly powerful businessmen, and her job might seem luxurious to some people and some of the other girls in our story, but this job does take a mental toll on her. And just one little mistake, just the tiniest mistake, could end her whole career. But guess what? All she wants is true love and acceptance. Then we have Curi's roommate, Miho, and she is such a talented artist, but she does have an unfortunate backstory. She grew up in an orphanage, but she earned a scholarship to study abroad in New York. While she was abroad, she did learn a lot, but she also went through a lot of tough times. And because she is so talented, but also naturally very shy and introverted and doesn't really like confrontation, she's really easily manipulated into bad situations, and lots of bad people can take advantage of her. And now she's back in Korea, in Seoul, and we see her try to manage this very complicated relationship. The man that she's in this complicated relationship, or I would say situationship with, is a very powerful man. He comes from a very powerful family who have a lot of influence, and they don't necessarily approve of Miho. And he's honestly not even that nice to her, so it really breaks my heart to see her go through this kind of situationship. But just because of her background and all of her past experiences, I feel like she's always looking for love in the wrong places. Down the hall from Curi and Miho is Ara. And Ara is a mute hairstylist who finds her escape from all of her daily struggles through her K-pop obsession. She's obsessed with this one specific idol, and her whole dream is to one day finally meet him. And she's also working with her friend and trying to save up a bunch of money for her friend's plastic surgery. She wants to go through this very extreme transformation, kind of like what Curi did, in hopes to gain this luxurious lifestyle, and she wants to transform her whole life. These procedures might be life-changing, but they are also very, very, very expensive, so they're both trying to save up for this for her. And then one floor below, we have Wana, and she's a newlywed who is very anxious about money and basic survival. Being a newlywed, she's also very pressured from her in-laws to start a family, have a baby, and fulfill her duties as a woman. She struggles a lot with her own feelings and thoughts about whether or not she even wants a baby in the first place. It feels like something that's just being pushed onto her. And she also is haunted by the fact that it's really expensive to raise children in this economy. And she's really afraid that her and her family are not going to be able to afford it. So it's very clear that all of these girls are wildly different. And yet, as we read the book, we see how each girl wants something the other one has. But in each situation, in each woman's life, they all feel pressure from society to be a certain way. The first time I read this book, it did honestly break my heart a little bit, but it also made me think about how some of these struggles are so universal. Even though we all come from different places and different backgrounds, I think we can all relate to some part of this book. and we can learn something about ourselves as well. This book kind of reminded me that there's no single mold that we have to fit. Every woman's life path is different, and we are all different, and that's what makes us all so special. I think being independent, confident, and most importantly, being kind to yourself is so much more powerful than trying to meet someone else's standard. And this book also taught me that everyone is fighting their own struggles. Even the people who seem to have it all, they seem to be going through life without a care in the world and everything just comes so naturally to them. They might be struggling with something you couldn't even imagine. This is one of those books that can really change your whole perspective on life, so I strongly recommend picking it up if it sounds interesting to you. Let me know in the comments if you've ever read this book, or if you've ever read a book that truly changed the way you see the world. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.